One shape burns brighter than the moon on 100 miles of empty sea. You spot it from the helicopter at 2 a.m. One blazing shape on 100 miles of black ocean. You assume it's just a floating hotel for the rich, a party barge with a swimming pool. But you're actually looking at a self-contained power plant, water utility, and sewage works that happens to carry tourists. These ships now cost up to $5 billion, more than a nuclear submarine, and weigh over 250,000 tons. This ship makes more electricity every day than a town of 20,000 people, and almost none of it is for the passengers. So here's the question we're chasing tonight. Where does all that raw energy actually go? We'll descend deck by deck, and every level we open switches on another tier of lights. A single ship burns through roughly 250 tons of fuel a day at full cruise. Think about the scale here. It's the difference between a lifeboat and a working metropolis. Host a real city, and you need real infrastructure, hidden far below where any guest ever walks. The whole thing runs on a diesel-electric heart most passengers never even hear. Down at the very bottom sits a 100-megawatt power plant, the true beating engine of this floating city. That's where our descent begins, in the loudest, hottest room on the ship. Below the waterline, the numbers stop making sense in a way that's honestly thrilling. We said the heart runs at 100 megawatts. Now drop lower, into the room that feeds it. Here sit up to 6 diesel-electric generators, each roughly the size of a city bus. But they don't turn the propellers directly. Instead, they just make electricity, nothing else. That electricity races down cables to the azopods, the pods that actually push you through the water. Each azopod holds a motor of around 20 megawatts and can rotate a full 360 degrees. There are 3 tiers of power draw here: propulsion, hotel loads, and the hidden utilities. Propulsion alone can swallow more than half of that 100 megawatt output at full speed. But burning that much fuel spews sulfur, so newer ships fit exhaust scrubbers and battery packs. Some flagships now cruise partly on liquefied natural gas, cutting emissions dramatically at the source. You'll find this technology on ships built in Turku, Papenburg, and the yards of Monfalcone, Italy. From the night helicopter, this whole tier finally flickers on, a deep engine glow below the waterline. But all that raw power isn't just to move you. A huge share is quietly stolen for another job. Behind the next hatch, that electricity forces seawater through membranes to make 1 million liters of fresh water daily. It's already more water than the passengers could ever drink, and that surplus is a story of its own. Have you ever wondered where your shower water comes from at sea? Tell me in the comments, I read them all. Next, I'll show you how they turn the ocean itself into drinking water. You've stood in that hot shower at sea and never once wondered where the water came from. We said the engine glow lit up below the waterline. Now watch a stranger kind of alchemy begin. The ocean around you is undrinkable, roughly 35 grams of salt in every single liter. So the ship becomes an alchemist, forcing seawater against membranes at pressures near 60 bar. The membranes have pores so tiny that only pure water slips through, leaving the salt behind. But high pressure means high cost, so engineers recover the leftover energy from the brine stream. The payoff is staggering. Over 1 million liters of fresh water conjured from the sea every day. That's far more than 8,000 people could ever drink. So where does this surplus actually go? There are 3 thirsty users on board: the guest cabins, the laundries, and the roaring galleys. Laundry alone washes tens of thousands of towels and sheets in a single around-the-clock shift. But the biggest gulp comes from the kitchens, where water becomes soup, ice, and clean plates. This same technology quietly supplies whole cities in Dubai, Singapore, and Perth, Australia. From the night helicopter, another tier flickers on, the galley decks glowing warm above the engine. Because all that fresh water is heading somewhere with a bottomless appetite that never stops eating. Next, I'll show you the army of cooks moving tons of food a day to feed 8,000 mouths. You've eaten those endless buffet plates at sea and never once pictured the war being fought below. We said the water was heading somewhere hungry. Now it hits a kitchen that never stops the line. This floating city eats around 20 tons of food every single day it's at sea. That's thousands of eggs, hundreds of kilos of beef, and mountains of fruit vanishing daily. The obvious problem is spoilage, because heat and ocean humidity turn fresh food rotten fast. So the fix is a brutal cold chain. Walk-in freezers held near minus 25 degrees Celsius. A single ship can store thousands of cubic feet of chilled and frozen provisions at once. But cold storage isn't enough, because 8,000 mouths must be fed in relentless overlapping shifts. There are 3 battle stations here: the main galley, the pastry shop, and the crew mess. Roughly 150 cooks work these lines around the clock, plating thousands of covers per meal. Resupply is its own campaign, with tons of cargo craned aboard in a few frantic port hours. This same provisioning ballet happens in ports like Miami, Barcelona, and Southampton every single week. From the night helicopter, another tier flickers on, the galley decks blazing bright above the water. But this army of cooks doesn't appear from nowhere, and they don't sleep where you do. Next, I'll take you into the city under the city, where 2,000 invisible workers actually live. You've swiped your card through 100 doors and never noticed the ones marked crew only. We said those 150 cooks don't appear from nowhere. Now step into the world that hides them. Behind that gray door live around 2,000 crew, a full third larger than the guest count. The obvious problem is space, because every square meter sold to guests is a meter crew lose. So the fix is a hidden city, a single low corridor, the crew nicknamed the I-95 highway. This single spine runs the whole hull, faster than any guest deck could ever move people. But a corridor isn't the life, so this hidden city has its own everything down here. There are 3 ranks that shape crew life: officers, guest-facing staff, and the invisible back of house. Your cabin steward may share a windowless room and work 10 hours a day for months. Contracts often stretch 6 to 9 months straight, with almost no days truly off. These crews are recruited worldwide, from Manila in the Philippines, Mumbai, and towns across Indonesia. The surprising payoff is that seamlessness itself is a product, engineered by people you'll never see. From the night helicopter, another tier flickers on, the crew corridors glowing dim beneath the guests. But feed and house a city this size, and it produces a flood of something nobody wants. Which rank down here would you last a week in? Tell me in the comments. I read them all. Next, I'll show you where everything this city wastes actually goes, because at sea, there is no away. You flushed, you scraped your plate, you tossed the bottle, and you assumed it just disappeared. We said this city produces a flood nobody wants. Now follow every last piece of it down. At sea, there is no away, so a single ship can generate over 1,000 tons of waste per week. The obvious problem is sewage, because 8,000 people flush hundreds of thousands of liters every single day. So the fix is an onboard sewage works, treating black water with bacteria to standards tougher than many coastal towns. But solids are only half the story, because everything you throw out must be sorted or burned. There are 3 fates for solid waste here: the incinerator, the recycler, and the compactor. The incinerator burns waste at over 850 degrees Celsius, turning yesterday's rubbish into a fraction of ash. Glass, aluminum, and cardboard get crushed and baled, with some ships recycling millions of cans a year. But nothing simply disappears, so the ash and residue are landed ashore under strict MARPOL rules. This closed-loop discipline is enforced hardest in ports like Juneau, Venice, and the fjords of Norway. And here's the turning point. This whole ship is one closed loop, digesting everything it consumes. Closure is what every deck we opened was secretly about. Because at sea, a leak is a catastrophe. From the night helicopter, another tier flickers on, the environmental decks pulsing deep in the stern. But every loop we've lit needs one mind steering it. Next, I'll take you to the brain on the bridge. We said every loop needs one mind steering it. Now step onto the bridge itself. From up here, one team commands power, water, waste, and 24 decks as a single organism. The obvious problem is that a 250,000-ton hull cannot stop or dodge like a car. So the fix is a nervous system, hundreds of sensors feeding one integrated bridge every second. But steering isn't enough, because a swell can roll a ship hard enough to hurl plates. So stabilizer fins, each the size of a small aircraft wing, slice out from the hull. They can cut a violent roll by up to 85%, so your wine barely trembles. The bridge juggles 3 constant fights: navigation, dynamic stability, and the power balance below. In tight harbors, thrusters and 360-degree azipods can spin the whole ship in place. This precision docking is drilled daily in ports like Miami, Kotor, and Sydney Harbor. But a storm doesn't just toss the hull, it also threatens to overload the grid. So the control room can shed and reroute megawatts in seconds to keep everything alive. Weather this, dock that, and the bridge weaves 24 decks into one breathing creature. From the night helicopter, the final tier flickers on, the bridge glowing above them all. But here's the twist we've been hiding. Next, I'll show you who that whole blazing city is really for. So we've lit up every tier now, and it's time I answered the question we started with. Remember the claim? This ship makes more electricity daily than a town of 20,000 people. And almost none of it is for you, the passenger sipping a drink by the pool. Every megawatt, every liter, every ton of food exists to fight one relentless enemy, the sea. The ocean wants you dead, and this machine spends everything just to make that fact invisible. Your comfort isn't the mission. Your comfort is the proof the mission worked. So picture this. The helicopter climbs, and one by one the shore lights blink out behind us. 100 miles out, there is no other light. No harbor, no buoy, nothing but black water. And then there it is, the ship, blazing as the only dawn for 100 miles. That light isn't luxury. It's the visible cost of making the sea disappear for one night. It is a city that generates its own dawn, because out here, nobody else will hand it one. But here's the part that stays with me once you step back onto solid ground. Every city you've ever lived in is this exact same closed loop of power, water, and waste. It's just spread out and slow enough that you get to forget it's even running. So tell me in the comments, what part of this loop blew your mind? I read them all. Next, I'll take you inside the deepest mine on Earth.